Evening, everybody. Welcome to this special meeting of Council, where we will be discussing the adoption of the financial statement and performance statement and also the annual report. As the meeting chair, I give my consent for this special council meeting to be streamed live, recorded and published online. Anyone who is invited to read out a question or make a submission will be recorded, and their voice, image and comments will form part of the live stream and recording. The chair and or the CEO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination of interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed appropriate. That may include where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory or potentially inappropriate to be published. The live stream will stop prior to the close. There is no closed section, so we'll move on to the public is able to view this live stream via our website at www.pyrenees.vic.gov.au. Should technical issues prevent the continuation of the live stream, the meeting will continue as long as a quorum can be maintained, and where possible, a recording of the meeting will be published on Council's website. Where a quorum cannot be maintained, the meeting will be adjourned until the issue is resolved or the meeting postponed to another time and date in accordance with the Council's governance rules. We acknowledge the people past and present of the Wadawurrung, Dja Dja Wurrung, Eastern Ma and Watchabalek tribes whose land forms the Pyrenees Shire. We pay our respect to the customs, traditions and stewardship of the land by the elders and people of these tribes on whose land we meet today. We have one apology for the meeting tonight, and that being Ms. Bramwell, and on behalf of all the council, I wish to pass on our sincere condolences to Kathy and hope that she's bearing up well. We're thinking of you, Kathy. Any notice of disclosure of interest by councillors or officers? If not, we'll move into the business at hand. Not too far. That being corporate and community services, the adoption of the financial statement and performance statement, item 6.1.1. I'll hand over to the CEO who's filling in for Ms. Bramwell at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to be able to present this report tonight on the adoption of the 2023-24 financial statement and the 2023 performance statement. And the purpose of this report is for Council to receive these and to adopt in principle, and to authorise two councillors, being the council members of the Audit Risk Committee, to sign the audit statements before being submitted to the Auditor General for certification. I also acknowledge our Manager of Finance, Glenn Kellio, who's present, happy to take any questions. Mr. Mayor and councillors, the report is presented to you, and the attached there as well for your noting. I might just invite Mr. Kellio to speak to any sort of significant matters from the statements.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the major significant issues has been relating to the flood and the fire events over the last couple of years. In relation to the flood events, not all of our income we would recognise. VAGO issued directive that we could only bring to account income of claims that we'd submitted to date, which significantly reduces our operating result as because we've recorded all the expenditure, but a substantial amount of the income is not on our books. The other major item that has affected the bottom line has been the usual practice of council receiving the financial assistance grants in June of each year for the following year. This year that was delayed until July, hence our results is further reduced by another $6 million. So even though the operating statement says that we're running at a loss of $3 million. When you take into account government grants that have been delayed and the financial assistance grants being delayed, that would have put us at a surplus of approximately $6 million. So just various accounting treatments has changed the result this year. Financial report we presented to the audit committee this afternoon indicates that our financial performance for the 2023-24 year has been solid, taking account the additional money that we had to spend in relation to those two events, and that we've finished the year with our financial results well within our 10-year financial plan. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just further elaborate that the Local Government Act requires that as soon as practicable after the end of the financial year, a council must cause to be prepared in accordance with Section 98, the performance statement and financial statements of council for the financial year. The council, after passing a resolution giving its approval in principle to the performance statement and financial statements, must submit the statements to the auditor for reporting on the audit. The council must ensure that the performance statement and financial statements in their final form, after any changes recommended or agreed by the auditor, have been made or certified in accordance with the regulations. The auditor must prepare a report on the performance statement. The auditor is required under Part 3 of the Audit Act 1994 to prepare a report on the financial statements. The auditor must not sign a report under Section 4 or under Part 3 of the Audit Act unless the performance statement or the financial statements have been certified under Section 3, and the auditor must provide the Minister and the Council with a copy of the report on the performance statement as soon as is reasonably practicable. The auditor is required under Part 3 of the Audit Act to report on the financial statement to the Council within 4 weeks and to give a copy of the report to the Minister. I further report, Mr. Mayor, that the statements have been considered as part of the Audit and Risk Committee's agenda today, and the Audit and Risk Committee have recommended that that the statements be referred to Council for approval and signing, and the auditor has provided his final statements for Council consideration, and as such, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to, along with Mr. Callio, to take any comments.
Any comments or questions, councillors?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'd just like to make it known that I was part of that Audit and Risk Committee meeting today and have had the discussion previously to this meeting. So, and note that it was approved by the Audit and Risk Committee to come to council for approval.
Thank you. Councillor Clark, you wish to?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just to follow on from Mr. Callio's comments, certainly the DRFA money particularly remains a key concern for council in terms of getting that in a timely manner. I was in Canberra last week and had the opportunity to do a bit more lobbying on behalf of council and more generally for other members in the sector on that issue as well. So it's not unique to Pyrenees, unfortunately. The fact that we actually now got our financial assistance grants actually in the right financial year I think helps us. Unfortunately, as much as it's nice to have cash in the bank, it actually gives us a much truer position in that sense. It doesn't artificially inflate our cash at the end of the year or our profit in that context, but it will take a year or two to balance that out because we have been getting it early for some time. So I think in that sense, it's good that we can actually talk to our community and it shows a more realistic position of council's assets and what it holds in terms of cash and those things.
Very good. Thanks for those comments, Councillor Clark. Was there any further you wish to add? No. The only question that I would ask of Mr. Callio is, or the CEO is, are we confident that the outstanding money's going to come to fruition?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, is that in relation to the flood event?
The flood events, yes.
I think the majority of the money will come. There's some money that we've expended in the early days that aren't eligible to be reimbursed by the state government, but the rest of the money we believe we'll be able to get, and the future works will only be undertaken once they're approved, so there'll be no financial risk in doing those future works.
Okay. Thank you for that, Glenn. Councillors, we have a officer recommendation there that we adopt in principle and submits the 23-24 financial statements and performance statement to the Auditor General for certification, subject to recommendation. Well, the Audit and Risk Committee have come through with that. And authorises Council's Audit and Risk Committee representatives, Councillor Ferrari and Councillor Easton, to certify the 23-24 financial performance statements in their final form after any changes recommended or agreed to by the auditor have been made. So
I'm happy to move, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Move, Councillor. Seconded, Councillor Keogh. All those in favour? That is carried. We move on to item 6.1.2, the annual report. I would ask our CEO to speak to this also, and then I'll finish off. So thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to be able to present this to Council for your consideration before the Mayor presents it to the community. This annual report has been prepared in the context of the election period, and essentially the Local Government Act 2020 provides that Council must, on the implementation of the Council plan, have the Mayor present this annual report to a Council meeting open to the public. The Council meeting must be held in the year of a general election on a day no later than the day before the election day, so within the election period. Mindful in preparing this annual report that it is prepared in the context of the election period policy, which provides some restrictions in terms of Council's communication and presentation to the community. So this report in a PDF form is a bare bones report to meet our statutory obligations and to report to the community on the important and statutory responsibilities that we have. Mr. Mayor, notwithstanding that, the report does highlight a number of significant achievements over the past year and challenges as well. In particular, I reference the significant impact that emergency management has had and natural disaster events have had on our communities and the Council, and in particular reference to the Bayandine Rocky Road bushfire, the significant recovery task that's ahead as a result. I also highlight some achievements that have been achieved by the Council in respect of the delivery of a number of road construction projects to improve the road network, which is vital for our communities. The construction of bridges as well, and a number of buildings. In particular, the completion of and the handing over to the community and the official opening of the Lexington Community Hub, as well as sport and recreation assets, such as the Lighting the Goldfields project in Beaufort. During the 30th of June 24 marked the end of a 4-year roads to recovery period. I'm happy to report that all the funding that was provided under that program has been fully expended at the end of the financial year. There have also been significant footpaths and drainage works completed both in Avoca and in other small towns, as well as in Beaufort. There's been a number of master planning works undertaken, including at the Beaufort Goldfields Rec Reserve. There's been environmental achievements in the form of new tree planting in our streets, as well as the commissioning of EV charging stations, and the development of a feasibility study and business case for a transformational project in the northern part of the Shire for a rural pipeline. During the year, Council also purchased land and demonstrated its commitment to respond to the Victorian Government's housing statement to facilitate the building of housing in our communities, and that included the taking up of borrowings to purchase that land. And we look forward to the development of Burke Street land in Beaufort and subsequently High Street of Oka. Council has taken up a new partnership with Tourism Midwest Victoria and a 10-year destination management plan as part of Council's commitment to the tourism sector. Council's also collaborated with the Ballarat Alliance, the Greater Ballarat Alliance of Councils, GBAC, as a body to advocate to government on a range of policy and funding matters. These are among some of the achievements during the course of the year, Mr. Mayor, which are contained within the annual report, in addition to any of the statutory reporting responsibilities we have, and also the performance and financial statements that have been endorsed by Council tonight. Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to hand it over to you now to formally present this to the community.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. You've covered the area extremely well. It's been a great deal of pleasure for me to be the mayor for the last 12 months, and I'm very proud of the effort that council staff in particular have operated under extreme pressure with the Bayandine fire. It's been a very trying time on our staff, and I'm very proud of the effort that we put up. We're a small council, but we certainly fight above our weight. To my fellow councillors, I thank you for the effort that you put in for your communities, and you can be very proud of, I feel, the way that we present our Pyrenees Shire. I'd like to wish the new council, when they are elected, all the very best, and I hope that our tradition carries on and we stay a very productive council. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to present the report. Our CEO has covered quite a deal of area, and it's been an absolute pleasure for me to be chair of this council for the last 12 months. And it gives me great pleasure to present this report to the public. So I would ask if somebody's prepared to move that the council accepts the Pyrenees Shire Council report for 2024 as presented by the Mayor. Move, Councillor Ferrari. And second, please. I'm having difficulty seeing the screen.
Seconded, Ron Eason.
Seconded, Ron Eason. Thank you, Ron. No further comments. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? That is carried.
Carries.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will declare the meeting closed, and thank you for your attendance tonight, councillors. See you all in the near future. Good luck with your canvassing. For those that are standing again, all the very best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If the chance you to put your feet up, good luck.
Yeah, we step one step sideways, but I'm not sure the feet get up.
Most true.
Yep.
Good luck, Robert.
Thank you, Ron. Same to you all with your canvassing.